Okay, my name is Howard Eber, and I am a recovered addict and alcoholic. Thank you all for coming. Welcome to the Big Book Comes Alive deep dive meeting, where we go through the book, as you heard earlier, a couple of paragraphs at a time. We are in Working with Others. We're on page 95, right in the middle of the page. And Kathy and I are very proud and honored to have our friend Texas T leading us for the month of November. So I'm going to step aside and turn it over to you, Tex.
Thank you, Howard. Howdy, hey, everybody. I'm Texas T. I'm an alcoholic and I got a bad case of alcoholism that because of this beautiful 12-step program, I can treat moment to moment from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep so that I don't have to be insane. Well, you know what? I can still be insane, but at least it's not a sickness in my mind. Um, in other words, well, someone said that they loved crazy ideas, and I agreed with that, but I always check with my higher power with any crazy idea because my higher power is a great guide and always has my back. So tonight, oh, and my sober date is December 25th, 1990. I like to say that so I could just remember to remember. And we're starting on page 95. Does everybody have their big book? The best book in the world? Yeah, check it out. So we're right in the middle of that page. And thank you again, Howard and Cassie, for inviting me to go on the deep dive with everybody. I love it. So let's start reading where it starts in the middle of the page. If he is not interested in your solution, oh yeah, this section is about what I might come across as I'm working with others when I'm trying to help another alcoholic that maybe doesn't even realize they need help yet, maybe doesn't even want the help yet, but I'm always there because it says that I always have my hand out to anybody that's suffering. And so here's an example of one alcoholic I may be thinking about or trying to help. It says, if he is not interested in my solution, if he expects me to act only as a banker for his financial difficulties or a nurse for his sprees, I may have to drop him until he changes his mind. This he may do after he gets hurt some more. Now, I like to read this thing in the first person, so it sounds like Bill is talking directly to me. And you know, I can only speak from my experience, but I can sometimes get tempted to bail somebody out financially if I think it'll help them get sober. I, you know, I'm I would be there if they had a hangover. But eventually what I found out was I was just being an enabler. I mean, it doesn't mean that I wasn't being nice. I mean, there's a difference in my world of being nice and helping people because they sincerely need help, or enabling them and being used. And being an alcoholic myself, I did the same thing to a lot of people before I got sober. I begged money off of them, tried to manipulate them and make them feel guilty. Oh, help me, or wanted them to feel sorry for me when I had a hangover. So basically what that paragraph is saying to me, that I need to let this person suffer on their own behalf a little bit more. I don't need to be a rescuer. I don't need to be a codependent and try to bail them out. But you see, that's the good thing about us being alcoholics is we know that people bailing me out did not help at all. I mean, yeah, it kept me afloat for a little bit longer, but that on my own accord, I did have to get hurt more. I had to hurt until I finally uh was ready to surrender, and the thing is, I can still be in that person's life and I'll be ready when they're ready to surrender. So I don't abandon them, but I don't go codependent on them and try to rescue them. And that's what that paragraph says to me. I'll be happy to hear y'all's responses later. And it says, if he is sincerely interested and wants to see me again, I'm going to ask him to read this book in the interval. I'll probably just buy him a book so he can have his own copy, or her, whichever. After doing that, he must decide for himself or herself whether they want to go on. Nobody can make the decision for me. So this is why I must let everybody else make their own decision. And as an alcoholic, I never liked being told what to do. I like to make my own decisions. I need my own experience to see, yes, I am an alcoholic and I need your help. He should not be pushed or prodded by me, his wife, or his friends. If he is to find God, the desire must come from within. And I know that for a fact, because as I said, I didn't like being told what to do. I was very defiant. And I definitely had to make my own decision whether I was going to go with this higher power idea or not. And the more people tried to talk me into it, the more I resisted. So I've learned from my own experience a lot how to deal with these new people, not to force anything on them, because just be loving and kind. Um, that's what. Now, when I talked about that first paragraph, that might not sound very loving and kind, but actually it is. Not rescuing somebody is very loving and kind, because I'm there for when they make their own decision to get sober. And it says here, if he thinks he can do the job in some other way or prefers some other spiritual approach, I'm going to encourage him to follow his own conscience. We have no monopoly on God. We merely have an approach that worked with us, but point out that we alcoholics have much in common and that you would like, in any case, to be friendly. Let it go at that. So I'm not going to try to force any of my ideas. I'm not going to try to enforce any of my ideas. I'm gonna encourage this person to have an open mind if they think that there's something else, but I am going to let them know that I'm there to help them. And I like in the big book where it talks about telling people to go out and do some more experimenting with their drinking, and it says after they've talked to us AAers, they go, wow, maybe they are right. Maybe I can't control and enjoy my drinking, and I can't enjoy my drinking if I try to control it. And maybe I can't just have one. And maybe I do need to talk to these people some more because they seem to relate to that same problem. And that's the beauty of AA to me, is that it was so nice to walk into a room full of people where I didn't have to really even explain how I feel. And when I heard other people share, I knew how they felt. And it was such a relief not to always try to think, what's wrong with me? Am I different? And be able to walk in, because I feel this way, is there something wrong with me? To walk into a room of people that actually talk about this problem with our drinking and and other things. It's not just our drinking. We find out later that it's our thinking, and that we all really, well, I can't say all, a lot, most of us, I have found, really think and feel alike, and how we can help each other, and what a relief it is to stumble into AA and not have to explain how I feel. Now, I still got 15 minutes, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to read one of my favorite pages, which is 96. I don't know if anybody here has ever heard the old joke, what Howard has. I'm going to tell it. Where the sponsee asks the sponsor, what page is the sex inventory on? And of course, the sponsor says page 69. Now, the sponsee, being a newcomer, completely got that transposed and goes to page 96. So it says on page 96, do not be discouraged if your prospect does not respond at once. Now, the sponsee is really excited about this, thinking, this is the sex inventory thing. Okay, then search out another alcoholic and try again. This is great. You are sure to find someone desperate enough to accept with eagerness what you offer. We find it a waste of time to keep chasing a man or a woman who cannot or will not work with you. If you leave such a person alone, they may soon become convinced that they cannot recover by himself. So I'm going to leave that part there. Now I'm going to go back and not talk about sex. Let's talk about working with others. Let's talk about if I have a new prospect and it tells me, do not be discouraged if your prospect does not respond at once. I didn't respond to the people that were trying to 12-step me at once, but the way they approached me, I actually listened to them at least. And then it tells me, if they don't respond at once, search out another alcoholic and try again. You are sure to find someone desperate enough, that's still funny, to accept with eagerness what you offer. Someone with a gift of desperation. We find it a waste of time to keep chasing a man or woman who cannot or will not work with you. There's those cannot and will nots that they talked about in How It Works, right? If you leave such a person alone, stop nagging him. He may soon become convinced that he cannot recover by himself, because he goes out to the bar after talking to you and finds out, wow, maybe that AA was right. Maybe I do have a problem. And it tells me to spend too much time on any one situation is to not deny some other alcoholic an opportunity to live and be happy. one of our fellowship failed entirely with his first half dozen prospects. He often says that if he had continued to work on them, he might have deprived many others who have since recovered or of their chance. And I love what all of this says, because I've experienced a lot of this stuff, because it took me some time. I think I'm an okay sponsor now, but it took experience. It took experience, and I take my hat off to anybody who finishes their 12 steps and their sponsor says, "Now get a sponsee." And because it really, we don't think, me as a fresh newcomer that's going to help another one because I finished the 12 steps, I don't think I have that much to offer, but I actually do, because I've been through it with my sponsor. I can call my sponsor and ask my sponsor to walk me through it again. How did we approach step one? How did we approach each of the steps? How did we approach that? So it not only, I get taught by the person who carried the message to me, I get to pass that message down to this newcomer who's hungry for this message. And that's it. It's amazing how this program works. And it tells me in this last paragraph that I don't chase people. I let them know that I'm available whenever they need to talk. I may tell them, if you're looking for a sponsor, I can do that, but if you want somebody else to help you, that's good too. I'd be willing to just get together and read this book with you, or just talk with you, whatever you want. But in this book, it tells us that we do approach people and let them know that we are available to help them with their recovery. And that if someone doesn't want it, don't try to be codependent and chase them and try to force them into it, because like I said, as an alcoholic, I didn't want to do what other people wanted me to do. I had to decide all on my own. And that's the beauty. I love, see, I love alcoholics, because I was a newcomer once. So when the newcomers are really stubborn and they don't like being told what to do, I see me in them, and I love them, because I'm like, it helps me remember I had to decide all on my own, how I was gonna, if I was gonna do this thing, I had to want it. And as a long timer, I have to step back and just be loving and kind, but not smother people. I just have to let them know I'm there, and make this thing look like something they might want to do, and make it look available and comfortable, because I need to let people feel safe. I like to make people feel like they can trust me. I can't make them trust you. You could do it though. It's all up to what we each do to make ourselves approachable and be helpful. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I first came in, I was a little bit skeptical of who I wanted to talk to, and how deep I wanted to get into this thing, because I always wanted one foot out the door just in case I changed my mind. And remembering all of that really helps me when I approach people, and I know when to leave them alone and let them have their own experiences, and then they can come back and um, I love it if they feel safe to talk to me. And I'll tell you a quick little story since I got a couple of minutes here. One day, I live here in Berlin, Germany, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the Ramones, but they were a punk rock band from New York City. And a German guy out here opened a Ramones museum. And there was an event there one day, and I was there, and I saw this Swedish guy who had sublet my apartment here at one time, and this Australian guy, and we started talking, and I don't know how being sober came up. They're drinkers. I don't know how being sober came up, but I was talking about sobriety and my experience with sobriety and blah 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 blah. And when I got home later that night, about an hour later, on Facebook, I had a message from the Swedish guy, and he said, "Will you take me to an AA meeting? I'm writing this while I'm drunk because I know when I sober up, I will not write you." So I loved that. So that was so endearing that somebody knew themselves so well that once they got sober, they were just gonna, the denial was gonna come in, the ego was the pride was gonna say, "No way, Jose." So he emailed me when he was still drunk. And it's those little things like that. You never know who you're gonna touch or when the conversation of sobriety comes up, because we are carriers of a message that, yeah, it's spiritual in its nature. We want to help others. Now that wasn't my natural thing when I came in. It was like that first paragraph we read, that he expects me to act only as a banker and a nurse for his sprees. And right there, as a alcoholic, I can go, ah, that is selfish and self-centered. So I can see the selfishness and self-centered. And then I get to remember that was me. I had to find out how selfish and self-centered I was. It's been such a long journey, not a long, like tedious, well, I don't know, it's taken a lot of effort. But I tell you what, every step of the way for me has been worth it. And it has been effort, because the power of me and the person I brought in, the character I brought in, the alcoholic with alcoholism I brought in, didn't want to give up the throne. And it took a while for me to rebuild that habit to go to a higher power to return me to sanity and to save my life, and so I could think and act a good purpose. And because I have had such an amazing journey, and I will be on this journey until the last breath I take. Um, is why I really love helping others, because I remember what it was like at the beginning. It's and I love this chapter because it's telling me, different situations that might come up. And like next week we'll start on let me see what it is. I love it because it says we're going to be making our second visit. And so this is about our first visit, how we're going to deal with our first visit with this person, not to be too pushy. but to be open and listen and be there for these people, but not rescue them, and how not to chase them, and to find somebody else who may need our help, instead of chasing someone who does not want it. And there's plenty of people out there that do want it. And that last sentence that said that this one guy says that if he had continued to work on them, he might have deprived many others who have since recovered of their chance. So we deprive others of their chance to recover if we just focus on one person and chase them. And I think that's great advice. That's about all I got there, Howard. What are we going to do now?
We're going to open it up to the floor to thank you. Let me stop the recording.